Season of Discovery just released one of the biggest and most influential updates yet, which is the addition of the Rune Broker in every single starting zone, allowing you to buy every single rune your class is available for just a measly single copper each, making the gameplay way more fun by making you overpowered at the beginning and removing the painful time sink that is acquiring some of these runes. I mean, let's be honest, no one here wants to run around Azeroth for 4 hours straight just to click on 40 books so you can get your Bis Mage rune, right? This was the exact reason why I quit after the first phase of SOD, and this single change convinced me to finally come back and give the game a fair chance. So let's get right in. Welcome to my journey to level 60 in SOD, with every single rune at level 1. After around 50 minutes in the character creation screen, I decided to create a male Tauren warrior. While I could have picked mage and got to max level in a day with crazy AoE farming strats, I realized that instead of being this guy, I wanted to be this guy.
It's him for sure.
What do you want him?
It's him for sure.
Come on, come on.
Ah! There it is, baby!
My journey began in Mulgore, and the moment I got out of the cinematic, I beelined my way to the broker and realized that I can't even buy the runes since I'm broke. There was only one option, and that was selling all my possessions for 4 copper, granting me the chance to buy 4 runes out of the available 36. But that wasn't really a big issue, since after completing a quest or 2, I was able to get them all. By the way, I don't know why I was able to get more runes than there should be available, but somehow I did, and I'm not the one complaining. But Blizzard, if you see this one, maybe fix the text in the runes tab. With these runes equipped, I blasted through the first levels and was able to pull multiple mobs and kill them without even losing a lot of health. And as a warrior, that is pretty impressive, honestly. I reached level 10 in no time, and now it was time to decide on my specialization. There's the arms warrior, wielding a 2-handed weapon and killing everything in their sight with big hits, the dual wielding fury warrior with its faster attack speed and sustained damage rather than big bursts like arms, and the protection warrior, it's just a tank. I obviously decided to go for the Fury Warrior, but what I didn't know is that I would have to use my level 14 2-handed mace up until level 27, because I never got any one-handed weapons, and when I decided to buy some from the auction house, the stupidest thing ever happened to me. Oh my god. I didn't just... but more on that later. Anyways, I finished the quests in Mulgore and make my way straight to the Barrens. And the first thing I see are these bugs roaming around, and once I got closer, a big crystal spawned with more Kiraji mobs surrounding them. Since I didn't play since phase 1 and never played Horde in Classic to begin with, I was very confused and wondered why these are here and what their purpose was. I was intrigued nonetheless whether or not they dropped any loot, and if they did, if it was any good. I decided that I was going to come back later and find out for myself what these things would do. All these runes gave me an insane power boost. I one-shot basically every mob on my way and therefore leveled up so fast, but eventually God decided that I was flying too close to the sun, so he decided to burn my wings. I was mindlessly killing these quill boars for the Disrupt the Attack questline and charged into 3 mobs without even realizing that I was at 40% health. I killed 2 and decided to run away, but once I saw how low the last one was, I thought that I would be able to kill him, and with the warrior brain I have, I turned around and then... Anyways, after I got humbled, I completed all the available quests that I had, farmed raptor heads, killed a few plainstriders, picked up shrooms along the way, and also collected the feet of half-naked women. While completing all these quests, I also got a very rare recipe with about a 1% drop chance, the Savory Deviate Delight. If you didn't know, this recipe is highly sought after, since the Savory Deviate Delight turns the player to either a human pirate or an human assassin, regardless of your original race. Although I didn't know how much this was worth yet, regarding the rarity, I knew this would make a very good amount of money, so I kept it until I made my way back to a major city later. About 30 minutes later, my quest log looked like this. I went back to the crossroads, turned them all in, leveled up to 17, and decided to go back to Thunderbluff for now, to learn new spells and sell the recipe I had gotten earlier. And lo and behold, the recipe was worth 24 gold. I never sold it. I still have it sitting in my mail. I've been trying for 3 days now. Please someone buy it. I need the gold. Once I was done here, I made my way back to the Barrens to continue my questing journey. While traveling, I was reading through some of my runes that I didn't use yet and decided to switch up a few things. Sudden Death was one of the runes I decided on putting in, since none of the other runes on my back slot would do anything currently, and Sudden Death sounded the coolest. If you didn't know, Execute is a warrior spell you learn at level 24, which can usually only be used at targets below 20% HP, hence the name. You see, Sudden Death has the chance to make your Execute ability usable, regardless of the target's health. Now what the tooltip doesn't tell you is that it not only sounds cool, but it also looks awesome as fuck. I mean, look at this. A warrior running around with red, glowing, blood-dripping wings makes such a simple and boring class so much more badass if you ask me. Anyways, as I said, this rune won't actually be of use for now, since I don't have Execute yet, but I knew after seeing the proc rate, once I get the spell, I would be blazing through the mobs without any problem. Or so I thought. So since I was level 17 already, I decided to try my luck against the Kiraji bugs again. I mean, they are elite mobs and a few levels lower than me now. I started by testing my limits on these level 12 flayers, and they were actually pretty manageable and didn't really feel like elite mobs. Now after killing a few of them, I was kind of disappointed by the loot table. All I ever got from them were their shells and saliva. They gave a little bit more XP than usual mobs here, but that wasn't really worth it honestly. After killing the bugs surrounding these Warbringers, I expected them to be around the same strength as the bug. Oh, how wrong I was. I charge in with 60% health. The Warbringer answers to my power play by stunning me for 4 seconds straight, breaking my armor while slapping me 3 times before I was even able to react to it. I then realized I was not meant to kill these yet, so I planned my escape. I hit my hamstring like there was no tomorrow, but he was immune to slows, so my only logical reaction was to scream in his face. Quickly afterwards, I war stomped, stunning him for a split second. I then used the health pot and was able to escape. After that experience, I made my way to Ratchet, where I accepted the quest to decimate the pirate crew at the coast, which wasn't really a challenge at all. Afterwards, I made my way up north and killed a group of goblins while fixing a few pipes, and after a few more boring Baron's quests, I finally reached level 20, a big power spike for Fury Warriors, since you can now dual wield. But before I went to my trainer, I had to check something out first. So while I was questing in the Barons, I also constantly saw this message pop up in the chat, which I knew was the rent buff, but I always thought you could only get it in Orgrimmar. I assumed that they changed it in SOD, so I looked it up on Google, and apparently you were also able to get the buff when you stood in the crossroads. So since I saw the buff every couple of minutes, and I also knew that the buff was extremely powerful and would help me power level even faster, I decided to go back there and AFK a bit. Now keep in mind, I saw this message pop up literally every few minutes. I waited and waited and waited, and nothing ever happened. 40 minutes later, I was defeated and gave up. With no world buff to help me on my journey, I made my way to Thunderbluff, where I still had that small glimpse of hope that maybe someone would drop the BFD world buff there, but to no avail obviously. So I learned the dual wield ability, in addition to Cleave and Retaliation, which apparently in SOD is now massively buffed since it only has a 5-minute cooldown in comparison to the original 30 minutes, and made my way back to get my own world buffs. You see, there's that one quest where you have to kill Quell boss and collect 60 tusks from them. And while doing that quest, you generally also collect a few of these blood shards, which if you then turn them in, will give you a nice buff to one of your main stats. If you have enough blood shards, you're also able to get every buff that one caged guy offers. So since I wasn't allowed the benefit of the rent buff, I buffed my characters as much as I possibly could. About 5 minutes later, I flew back to the crossroads for a minute to turn in a few quests, and whether you believe it or not, the game now finally blessed me with the rent buff, which meant I was a milk dispensing power machine. Fast forward a few levels and I decided to make my way to Terran Mill in Hillspread Foothills, which required me to take the Zeppelin in front of Orgrimmar and then walk all the way from Tirisfal Glades through Silverpine Forest to then arrive in Hillspread. On my way to Orgrimmar to pick up the flight path for the future, I stumbled upon this interesting human being. I was minding my own business, walking towards the gates of Orgrimmar, when suddenly I spy a level 60 mage on the edge of my screen jump off his mount to kill the boar I was randomly running towards. He then proceeded to mount up and run away. I don't even know what his plan was, honestly. If you know this guy, or if you are watching Rockets, why? Anyways, I got to Tauron Mill, I picked up all the quests and made my way to the destroyed castle on the eastern part of the map. On my path, I also killed the spiders and bears I ran across for another collecting quest. The syndicates proved to be no problem, and I quickly finished that quest by decimating the people inside the castle and freeing 3 members of the horde. I then made my way back, handed in the completed quests and made my way to the western fields now, where I would spend a lot of time for now. You see, Classic is also often referred as a walking simulator. So once I finished the quests on the fields and handed it in, the exact same quest giver wanted me to go back there and kill a few other humans. And once I did that and handed in that one, they wanted me to go and collect 30 skulls now. First of all, where am I putting these? How am I holding 30 human skulls in my bag when I can't even fit more than 10 items at once in my inventory? And second, how is it even possible that when I kill these humans, they don't drop any skulls? Now, on my third time walking to these fields, I met a very nice and friendly Alliance player. Now be aware that Living Flame, the server I'm currently playing on, is a PvP server with a fairly balanced population. So everyone from the opposed faction is able to attack and kill me, since I am in a contested zone. So since this bitch is at least 10 levels higher than me, he quickly decided to put an end to my misery, which led to me having to go all the way back and hope that he wouldn't camp my corpse so I could make my way to the quest destination. After a few minutes I reached the fields again and started killing everything that stood in my path and collected their skulls if they dropped them. I honestly felt pretty safe since I was surrounded by 2 other Horde members until I heard this sound. And then I realized it was Anti-Locus again. I swear if I ever find you in a spot where you are the low HP underleveled one, I will take your Felguard's axe and shove it up your Anyways, I went back, killed the people on the fields, and about 45 minutes later I had finally collected all 30 skulls, which meant I was finally free of this torment. I then also decided to invest a bit of gold to buy an offhand weapon that could go along with the sword that I dropped earlier in the castle, so I would finally be able to dual wield and live my Fury Warrior dream. I walked up to the Flight Master and took the flight path to Undersea. If you didn't notice earlier, once I got off the Zeppelin, I walked straight down to Silverpine Forest, ignoring the fact that I would have needed the flight path to get back to the Zeppelin Tower. If I ever needed to go back, obviously, which I, by the way, had to do now. This was a problem. I didn't know what to do, and all I could think of was either walking all the way back and waste another 15 to 20 minutes of my life, or pray that a random level 54 mage called Joseph would run past me, who I could then kindly ask for a portal. Oh hey! Hey, wait, could I get the Undercity portal please? After around 10 seconds of processing what I just requested of him, he opened the trading window. And since I know how greedy mages are, I instantly knew what he wanted from me. But I was broke, so I tried my luck and only traded him 50 silver. And he accepted. Another 10 seconds later, he invited me to a party and created a portal to Undercity. I was saved. Now for this next segment, please keep in mind that it was 2:30 AM and I was very tired and planning on going to sleep once I finished what I had to do in Undercity, alright? As I said, I was looking for an affordable offhand weapon and I quickly found one, the fighter broadsword of the tiger. I walked over to the mailbox, picked up the item. Wait, what? It was a main hand weapon. The weapon I got earlier was also a main hand weapon, which meant this weapon had no use for me whatsoever. Anyways, mistakes happen, right? It's not a big deal. I made my way over to the auction house again and bought myself the splitting hatchet of the wolf, which I was now sure I could equip in the offhand. Went to the mailbox, picked it up, and then this happened. I'm done. Please subscribe.